In the bustling heart of New York City, Alexander Whitmore, a billionaire known for his icy demeanor and unyielding control over his empire, walked through the marble halls of his family estate. Despite the grandeur surrounding him, crystal chandeliers, priceless art, and polished mahogany furniture, there was a gnawing emptiness he could never escape. Years of chasing wealth and prestige had left him with a hollow sense of accomplishment. His fortune, amassed through sharp business deals and relentless ambition, had won him fame, but not fulfillment. On a quiet summer afternoon, Alexander's life took an unexpected turn. A new domestic staff had been hired for the estate, a young black woman named Clara, who carried herself with quiet dignity and resilience. Clara had arrived in the city from a small rural town, seeking opportunities in a world that often overlooked people like her. Her hands bore the marks of hard work. Her eyes reflected both determination and the weight of unspoken struggles. And she possessed a calm that seemed almost otherworldly amidst the chaos of Alexander's mansion. Alexander first noticed Clara during a routine inspection of the household staff. It was a momentary glance, almost dismissive, until his eyes fell on a delicate bracelet encircling her wrist. The bracelet was simple yet striking, crafted from gold and engraved with intricate patterns that mirrored the craftsmanship of an era long past. But it was the initials engraved on the clasp AW that stopped him in his tracks. His breath caught, and his heart, long habituated to indifference, skipped a beat. He had not seen that bracelet in decades, not since it had vanished from his mother's jewelry collection during a chaotic move. The bracelet, Alexander realized, had belonged to his mother. Its disappearance had been a source of quiet mystery, an unspoken tension in the family. For years it was assumed lost forever, a relic swallowed by time and negligence. Yet here it was, worn by Clara, a maid whose presence had been barely acknowledged until now. The realization struck him with a force he had never anticipated. The connection between the opulent world he inhabited and the hidden lives of those who served. It was far more intimate than he had ever allowed himself to consider. Compelled by a mixture of shock and curiosity, Alexander approached Clara. He studied the bracelet, tracing its patterns with a trembling finger as he questioned her gently about its origin. Clara's response was simple yet profound. The bracelet had been given to her mother, who had been a housemaid in the Whitmore estate decades earlier. It had been a gift of friendship and compassion, passed down from one generation to another, surviving through years of hardship and change. In that moment, Alexander felt a surge of emotions he had long buried: regret, humility, and an almost childlike wonder at the endurance of love across class and color lines. Memories of his childhood flooded back, his mother, graceful and stern, teaching him lessons of kindness and integrity. The servants who had cared for him with quiet devotion, and the invisible threads of human connection that had bound their lives together in ways he had ignored in his pursuit of success. The bracelet worn now by Clara was not merely a piece of jewelry, was a symbol of resilience, of love passed down through hardship, of the dignity that could survive even the harshest inequalities. Over the following weeks, Alexander's perception of his world began to shift. He watched Clara perform her duties with unwavering dedication, noting the care she took in every detail. The warmth she brought to the mansion despite her lowly status in the household hierarchy. Conversations with her, initially polite and formal, grew richer as Alexander listened to her stories of family, sacrifice, and perseverance. He discovered a woman of remarkable intelligence and insight, whose life experiences challenged his assumptions about wealth, privilege, and morality. Moved by the bracelet and its story, Alexander sought to honor the legacy it represented. He began to investigate his family's past, uncovering histories of generosity and oversight, as well as mistakes and injustices that had been conveniently forgotten. The discovery was humbling. The Whitmore fortune, built on enterprise and opportunity, had also benefited from systems of inequality that had shaped Clara's family and others like hers. Alexander felt a moral awakening stir within him, a realization that wealth without empathy was meaningless. As months passed, Alexander took deliberate steps to bridge the gap between his life and Clara's. He initiated programs to support the education of children from underprivileged backgrounds, provided scholarships for young women to pursue careers, created initiatives to recognize and reward the dedication of household staff. He met with Clara's family, listening to their stories, offering support, and acknowledging the sacrifices they had made. In doing so, he discovered the profound impact that acknowledgement and compassion could have, not just for others, but for himself. The bracelet remained with Clara, no longer a symbol of mystery, but a beacon of connection and understanding. Alexander, once a man who measured life in profits and acquisitions, learned to measure it in moments of humanity and empathy. He understood, finally, that the true wealth of life lay not in gold or real estate, but in the bonds we form, the kindness we extend, and the legacies of love and dignity we nurture across generations. The day Alexander wept upon seeing the bracelet became a turning point in his life. It was not merely an emotional reaction, but a profound awakening to the interconnectedness of human experience. In Clara, he saw the embodiment of courage and grace. In the bracelet, the continuity of values that transcended wealth and status. And in himself, the capacity for change, humility, and genuine compassion. The mansion, once a place of sterile luxury, became a home in spirit, a space where stories, histories, and hearts intertwined in meaningful ways. Through this journey, Alexander and Clara developed a mutual respect that transcended their societal roles. The billionaire and the maid, bound by a shared history and a delicate bracelet, illustrated a truth often overlooked, that dignity, love, and resilience exist in every human being, regardless of status, and that acknowledgement of that truth can transform lives. Alexander Whitmore, the man who had once walked through life with emotional detachment, discovered the profound richness of empathy, the beauty of human connection, and the enduring power of a simple bracelet to change the course of a life. By the story's conclusion, Alexander's tears were no longer of regret, but of understanding, gratitude, and hope. The bracelet, gleaming in the sunlight on Clara's wrist, became a symbol of the bond between two lives, once separated by circumstance, but united by shared humanity. And in that moment, the billionaire finally knew a fullness that money could never be, a life enriched by compassion, humility, and the quiet strength of those whose stories often go unheard.